On All About Stocks this week, find out if the falling markets mean anything for you as retail investors. A. Balasubramaniam of Birla Sun Life AMC tells us what we should be doing with our money now. Paras Edenwala of Capital Portfolio Advisors picks two stocks he thinks we should be investing in, Allahabad Bank and Cable Kiran Clothing. We'll find out why. We'll also find out if you should be buying blue chip stocks now in a market like this. All of that coming up later on the show. Welcome to All About Stocks, the show that helps you as retail investors make the best stock market calls in our equity market, especially in a market like this when we need all the help we can get. In fact, remember, this is a show for long-term investors. All the stock calls you hear on this show are meant with the time horizon of 3 to 4 years. Now, we saw the Sensex trading close to 17,000 for most of this week, and before it closed on Friday, we saw it fall below 17,000. The Nifty flirting with 5,000 there. Now, if you hadn't had time to check the markets during the week, Abhishek, my colleague, has the latest numbers on what happened in the market. Abhishek.
Well, Faye, talking about market, this has been a week marked by intense volatility. I mean, Nifty is down just 2% for the week. But if you look at the range, it was almost a 450 odd points range when it comes to Nifty. And for Sensex, it's over a 1,000-point range. Now, this was a week when, emerging markets like India and the rest of the world actually digested US sovereign rating downgrade by S&P. We saw Fed actually coming out in the open after FOMC meet and pledging that, yes, they are going to keep the rates at record lows for an extended period. And then European Union banning short selling. These were the events which actually provided some support. We are also marked by a good IIP number when it comes to India, but it actually failed to cheer the markets. What was gaining this week? Well, definitely, gains were there in Motown because auto stocks were driving home with big outperformance. You look at the names like M&M, Hero, Honda, Maruti. I mean, these guys have delivered returns in excess of 8% at median level. M&M, in fact, is up 13% last year on back of great set of numbers and operationally a visible upgrade coming in from foreign brokerage houses. What was losing this week? Well, it is definitely power sector, which is looking powerless, if you can say so, because if you look at R Power and Tata Power, they have failed to impress the street. These stocks are down over 11% for the gone by week. We've also seen some bit of selling pressure coming in financial stocks like Reliance Capital.
All right, Abhishek, thank you so much for giving us the latest on that market. Like Abhishek was saying, grim markets there, not a lot of good news coming in from what we've seen happen over the last week. Thankfully, we have A. Balasubramaniam, the CEO of Birla Sun Life Asset Management Company, to help us make sense of this market. Bala, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. We've seen a state of panic, of nervousness over the market over the last 2 weeks. First of all, do you expect this to continue? Do you expect to see more pain ahead for us?
I think the correction in the market is largely on the back of what you have seen in the global market, which is driven by the US downgrade, and subsequent to that, the expectation on downgrades on some of the European markets. And on top of it, what steps I think each government would be in a position to take with respect to making the right fiscal corrections roadmap. What does it mean? Actually, it means the growth expectations which we are building up in some of these economies get reduced. To the extent the earnings of the companies would also get downgraded as a result of the expected slowdown in the growth momentum. And to that extent, of course, India is also, the market will get impacted. Ultimately, the global growth slowing down could have somewhere in some form or other a negative impact with respect to the growth coming down. Having said that, that's why I think we have seen the last 2 days the market volatility has been quite high. Having said that, clearly, I think India has been the best performing market for the last at least, though the market underperformed since the beginning of the year, the global market with a substantial margin. The last few days, Indian market has outperformed the global market by anywhere between 6 to 7%, which is again, it's again proving the point that the Indian market to large extent will get insulated given the fact that Indian consumptions continue to remain drive the economic growth, and the reduction in the economic growth in India, which has been expected to grow to anywhere around 8 to 8.5%, may not get impacted so much, except a few basis points we could see it dropping, which is in line with what we have seen in the global market, is quite a significant improvement and achievement which I think will achieve from India perspectives.
So for a retail investor who's watching, Bala, who's invested his savings in this market, either through mutual funds or through direct equity, now there's a tendency to pull out from equity as an asset class altogether. What would you recommend in a market like this? What would you say to a long-term retail investor who's watching?
Yeah, I think you said it very clearly that the long-term view is most important from the retail investor's point of view if one wants to participate in the Indian capital market. At the same time, the market having given a corrections, which is the correction is on the basis of the crisis what you are saying in the global market, and it is not it has got nothing to do with the domestic crisis, or it has got nothing to do with any kind of domestic issues that we are facing. It is purely the function of what is in the global market. And historically we have seen that any investment is made during the crisis time, the next 1 year or 2 year or 3 year, the market has always given a phenomenal return. Given these kind of facts and figures, clearly I think from investors' point of view, retail investors' point of view, it's a time to accumulate. The question always comes in the mind is, should I go and just jump and then buy in one go today? Clearly I think given the fact that the volatility period probably may remain for some time, it's better to of course stagger it, at the same time look for an accelerated investments in the capital market, because definitely the valuations are attractive. The market is giving an opportunity, especially in the volatile time, and then uncertainty of course creates some bit of opportunity for the investors. That is why I think we are seeing it today.
All right, so Bala telling us that this is an opportunity for us to buy equity. It normally rewards us 2 or 3 years after a slowdown like the one that we're seeing right now. And he said stagger that investment. Bala, I want to pull up the IT pack here. You talked about global growth slowing down, especially in the US. How do you expect this to affect business for Indian IT companies? Are you expecting their numbers to slow down? Are you expecting those stocks also to fall further?
Definitely, of course, the sectors will have some bit of a short-term negative impact given the slowdown in US. Again, one has to just wait and watch actually in terms of how the policy frameworks will fall in place, as well as what kind of growth expectations would get built in some of these economies in the next 3 months or 6 months, which will be largely driven by how the policy makers are going to react to the current trend and emerging trend. It's only the time we'll have to wait and see actually how that will shape up.
All right, you also talked about policy, which brings us to the big question the markets are asking also. We're reeling under high interest rates and high inflation. In your opinion, have the interest rates peaked right now? Do you expect RBI to bring in further rate hikes as we go forward?
From the Indian domestic interest rate point of view, we have put out a house view last week, post the policies as well as the post of the recent turmoil what you have witnessed in the global market. Clearly, I think is one view which is becoming more viable options, which is largely driven by the commodity prices staying low and oil prices coming down or maybe staying low because of the global market concerns. Definitely, I think the Indian inflations probably would see time will come where it will get moderated. Maybe it could start showing a bit of weakness in down trending. Given this kind of fact, also combined with the poor credit to offtake we are witnessing in the systems, and the unexpected slowdown which we had advocated. Now the current turmoil which we are witnessing in the global market definitely I think is creating a room and creating a kind of roadmap for a case actually for picking of interest rates, which essentially means that the probability of interest rates hike pass would become in some sense a reality.
Right, Bala, normally when interest rates peak out, you expect banking stocks to also bottom out, which means that they're not going to fall any further, which creates an opportunity for investors to buy those stocks before they start picking up. Do you expect banking to start picking up in the future? What's your call on the banking sector? Yeah,
the sector of course is the it's a proxy for the Indian economy, and the sector of course plays actually the represents and plays the various sectors through the of course credit. Also the sectors will largely benefit or lose on the basis of rising and falling interest rates. Plus this market has also given a corrections given the fact that 26% of the index weight is coming from the banking and financial service sectors. The valuations of course have now come to an attractive levels more on the basis of the price to book multiples. Given the fact that the market will remain volatile, the sectors will also of course will undergo a volatility given the fact again that ownership pattern in the sectors is in line with what is there in the index weight. But the sectors will continue to be the sectors the long-term driver for India's growth stories, given the fact that the sectors will remain a proxy for the Indian economy.
All right, Bala, thank you so much for joining us on a week like this and sharing your insight on what's happening in the market and what we can do as retail investors. All right, we're going to slip into a quick break. On the other side, Paras Adenwala is going to join us. He's picked two stocks, Allahabad Bank and Cable Kiran Clothing. A stock sub will make us rich. We're going to ask him why after the break. Don't go anywhere.